Okay. All right. Who's up in here? Let's get a head count. Sup, Cody? Oh, you said sup, Noah. Never mind. You're not talking to me. What's up, everybody? How everybody doing? Sorry, I was trying to fix the stream. It looked like it acted up for a minute. I don't know what happened. Very strange. But nonetheless, we're in here, boys. All right. All right. I think we're gonna have a really good discussion, man. I've actually been wanting to talk to Noah for a while. It just never really lined up. Because you guys know, like, a lot of times these interviews or slash like just chats, like it just never lines up when we could do it. Because I'm look, he's a very organized person, and at certain times he can do it, and with me, I'm all over the place. All right, so yeah, makes sense. Oh, 1 second. All right, let's see if he's in there. But how everybody doing? Everybody doing all right? I just want to check in with you guys before we go in on this, because I don't think I talked to you guys enough, man. 4.44K subs. Congrats, clan. Noah has such great Spurs NBA takes. He does. And thank you. Yeah, that's nothing, man. I want my goal, and I know it might be like a small goal, but my goal is 20K. That's my goal. Okay. And we're gonna get there. We're gonna get there. If I ever see it stopping, we're gonna do what we gotta do, all right? Whatever content we gotta do. If I gotta get on here and do some Fortnite dances, we're gonna do it. Is the stream okay? I hope the stream's okay. My internet's been out for a while because of the tornado. And it just came back today, so I'm just hoping that this goes smoothly. Clan only, whatever it takes. Whatever it takes. All right. Let me get my boy on. Let's see. I'm pretty sure he's ready. Let's check in there. See where he's at. Ah, he is ready. All right. Good. Nice. Let me message him and prep him. Let him know we about to go up in here. Stream is good. Good. Thanks, Rich Boy. Rich Boy, I ain't seen you in a while, dog. Where you been? I haven't seen Rich Boy in a while. Just join. Okay, cool. He just messaged me. Straight in. Just letting him know we jumping straight in once I go in there. Once he sees that, we'll jump in. Yo. Yo. Uploading games on my channel. Been busy. Uploading games? Oh, like, we need to shout out your channel. You mean like gameplays? You do gameplays? That's pretty cool. Ah, he's ready. All right, guys, let's do this. Let's do this. You think Noah can sing like our past guest? That would be nice. Yeah? Okay, cool. Is it just, well, obviously it's Rich Boy. All right. All right, okay. All right, guys. Everybody be on their best behavior, okay? I need you guys to be on your best behavior. Promise? I just want one promise. Rich Boy, are you going to be on your best behavior? Noah probably has the voice of an angel. Okay, we're already acting up. Rich Boy, are you going to be on your best behavior? Rich Boy. Okay. All right, guys. Come on. Yes. Come on. Knock it off. You guys ready? Everybody good? Everybody good? Still got some other people joining. I think we're good. I think we're okay. All right, we're good. Hey, yo. Okay, all right, okay. You guys aren't going to be on your best behavior. I get it. All right, let's go ahead and do this. Let's see. Make sure this is turned on. And boop. Oh, wait. Let me join. All right. Let's see. Let me bring you up. Hey, Noah. Doing pretty good. Actually, you're not coming up. Hold on. It's weird. Say something. I can hear you, but it's not coming up. Can anyone else hear Noah? That's weird. Let me know if you guys heard that. No. No. You don't. You don't supposed to see me. I think it'll mess up. Let me see. Output. Yeah. Strange. This is weird. I don't know why it's not working. Let's see. Properties. I got hit with that storm, man, so I don't know what happened to anything. It's all good. Yeah, I'm doing good. Looks like I'm talking to myself. Crap. Let's try that. Yeah. Here, I'm gonna leave too. All right, let's try something, cause that's very strange. I don't know why it's doing that. Hold on. Oh wait. See, that comes up. That doesn't make sense. Hold on, let's try something. Did it do it again? Number 3. Yeah, I have no idea. All right, let's try it again. All right, let me go back in. Okay, say something.
All right, can you hear me now?
Ah, there it is. It's coming up now. Okay, I don't know what happened, but good.
No worries.
Yeah, that's good. All right, man. Well,
awesome.
This has been a long time coming. I've been wanting to talk to you for a while. I know we talked when I was on OOC a little bit, but we never really got to like talk on this channel. So it's kind of cool to just have you on, man. Just like overall, how's everything been going for you?
Good. I'm a little tired. I got my booster the other day, and it's been like kicking my butt. But I feel good. Besides that, I mean, I've been busy, and I just appreciate you having me on. Like, you're right. We've been talking about this for a while. We've been busy, so I'm glad to be here now.
Yeah, man. I'm really excited to have you on because I'll be honest, like, I don't like a lot of like people's Spurs Twitter takes, but your Twitter takes are always on point. At least that's from my perspective. I think they're really good takes. Like they're always informative.
No, I appreciate that.
Yeah,
I appreciate that for sure.
Yeah, and I used to watch some of your videos on YouTube as well. I wish you would go back on there, man. You did some really good breakdowns.
I know. I've been busy. I've been wanting to get back to it, but since I started the podcast with SB Nation, I've had less time to dedicate to that. So
yeah,
I want to get back in there and do some more film studies, but I've just been busy.
I feel you. Well, the few that you do, because it seems like you do like every now and then, just like really quick on Twitter, here and there. I think the last one I saw was a few months ago, and that was really good. But yeah, I mean, whenever you give a take, whenever you talk about the Spurs in general, it's always pretty informative. So this should be a really good discussion. So, like, let me just go ahead and tell you what I got, and you probably saw it in the caption too. But I wanted to start off with you on like Dejounte Murray, and I know that I'm considered, okay, I guess because I'm a little biased sometimes, I'm considered kind of a DJ hater amongst people. They think that I really hate DJ, which isn't true. I just think sometimes I feel like it's a little overrated, some of the talks on him. But that's just me. No,
I think that's fair.
Yeah. So when it comes to Dejounte Murray, obviously he's been having struggles, and that's nothing crazy since, Derek White has had struggles as well. But if I bring up the stats here, one thing that I've been arguing, or I've been saying for a while, is I don't think that there's one player on this team that's going to average 20 points this season, and it's starting to show itself now. And when it comes to Dejounte Murray, it's a lot of situations where I'm trying to see like, can he be a consistent scorer? Because at this point he is our leader. But I just want to get your overall thoughts on him and like the struggles and stuff.
For sure. Yeah, no. I have plenty to say about that. So I know I'm kind of considered a DeJounte hater too, but I love him. But he's not that guy. So
yeah. So what's your thoughts on his recent struggles?
I don't think DeJounte Murray, like we've talked about a little bit in the past, but I don't really think he's the guy. Like you look at every championship contender or championship team, and they have like the guy, a guy who can break down the defense, who's got a dynamic handle. They're elite in some regard on the offensive end, but DeJounte's not really elite in any one aspect. And I know some people are quick to point out, well, he's averaging as many assists as Luka Doncic, and but it's it's less turnovers than Luka, so he's got to be a better passer. But I think like per game numbers, the counting numbers, they don't tell the whole story, right? If you look at a game where Doncic is playing, he's a masterful manipulator of the ball. He's a guy who can manipulate a defense with his eyes. He's got every move in the book, and he can find players before they're open, right? He sees things before they happen, where DeJounte Murray's more of a reactionary passer. He makes basic reads. He's going to hit those bounce passes, the pocket passes. He's going to hit an open man if he's within his, like arm's reach or something, but he's not a guy who really forces a defense to work that hard. And so as long as you have a guy who they can game plan around for DeJounte Murray, like he's been below league average from mid-range. He's been below league average from three. He doesn't take hardly any pull-up threes. So you can really plan for what he does, right? He's going to pull up from mid-range. He's going to pull up a floater, or he's going to deliver a bounce pass to Jakob Poeltl or Drew Eubanks. And all of those just aren't that efficient. Like he doesn't get to the line that much. He's not great when he gets to the line. And you look at some of the numbers, I mean, in the pick and roll numbers, and of course, like numbers can be misleading and they need context. But of the 33 players in the NBA this season who've run at least 150 pick and rolls, DeJounte Murray has the least points per possession out of the pick and roll. And it's for the reasons that I said. I mean, look, he doesn't ever pull up from three off of the pick and roll like a guy like Donovan Mitchell or Trae Young or Luka Doncic can, or even Damian Lillard or, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. He's always looking to get to the mid-range, and that's just an inefficient shot. It's fine if you're really good there, like a Chris Paul. Like if you're Chris Paul and you're knocking down like 53% of your mid-range jumpers, go for it. But if you're only hitting 40% of them and they're a high volume of what you do, and that's your diet on the offensive end, teams are happy to let you have it. So like Dejounte may get 18 points per game and 8 rebounds and 8 assists, but that's all by design. Defenses aren't scared to let him have that because it just doesn't hurt them that much.
Yeah, the thing about Dejounte that I kind of noticed too, there's a few things, but you mentioned the pick and roll, so I do want to like talk about that a little bit. Sometimes it seems as if he doesn't really like wait for the screen, if you know what I mean. Like sometimes he's a little impatient, or maybe waits too long. It's very strange. Like I'm not some like, basketball genius or anything, but just watching basic pick and rolls and seeing point guards over the years do it well. He's one of those guys that I don't necessarily think he plays off of screens as well as even maybe White on the team.
Yeah, he's gotten better over that over the last couple of seasons, really in the last couple of years now that he has more ball handling responsibilities, but he's not someone who manipulates the ball screens all that well. I mean, he's not really playing sped up, and I think for the most part he makes the right reads and he delivers the passes fairly accurately, but you look at what he does out of the pick and roll, and it's fairly easy. I'm not saying every single player can do that. Certainly he's become a really good decision maker, and that's why his turnovers are so low, but he's also a guy who doesn't take a lot of risks. Right, so he's not really liable to turn the ball over often because he's just not making skip passes or cross-court passes or behind the back or, behind his head. It's not that you have to be fancy to be good. I mean, look at Chris Paul. He's pretty safe, but he can manipulate a defense a little bit better. So with Dejounte Murray, I think he has gotten better as a screener, but he doesn't have a dynamic handle. He's not really got a lot of moves inside of his package. Like, there's just, like I said, I mean, there's a lot that a defense can do to game plan around what he does. And whereas a lot of guys come into the league, like, say, a LaMelo Ball or a Luka Doncic or even someone this year, I'm trying to think who at like Cade Cunningham, who went at the top of the draft, like, the ball's immediately in their hands. Whereas Dejounte, they drafted him. They put him in the G League for a little bit. He played a little bit as a rookie. He took over the starting point guard duties, but, Manu was still there to help him get through that. Tony was still there a little bit. You had, Patty there a little bit to help him get through that. So he's sort of been eased into a playmaking role, and even though he was labeled a point guard coming out of college, he's not really a natural point guard. Like, he's had to learn everything along the way, and he's taken strides, and he's made strides every season. But, like, a lot of guys start out with this baseline level of skill, right? Yeah. So it's not that he's not good at what he does. He is. It's just, it's not that special, if that makes sense. I mean, he has the 7th most touches in the NBA this season. Of course, the points and rebounds and assists were going to come. The Spurs don't have anybody else to give the ball to. And that's not to say Dejounte isn't good, but he's certainly not the guy. So, love him, but he's not the guy.
Yeah, and, I have one more critique, and then I do want to say something positive about DJ. But, like, one thing that I've noticed, and I don't know if you've noticed this as well, but other people have talked about it, is that he doesn't really have a very strong first step or explosiveness. And oftentimes he's getting blocked from behind pretty often. And I think that comes from that lack of explosiveness. And he didn't, in my opinion, he didn't really have it that much prior to the injury. But after the injury, it got much worse. That's from what I'm seeing. What are you seeing from that?
Yeah, so it's tough. I mean, and I'll use Joe Wieskamp as an example, and we'll get back to Dejounte Murray. But a guy like Joe Wieskamp, he measured a 42-inch vertical at the Combine. It was one of the best verticals at the Combine, the best on the Spurs roster. He had a really great shuttle time. I mean, it looked like he could move side to side. And sometimes that athleticism isn't functional in the game. Like, Joe Wieskamp isn't going to dunk over anybody. He needs to be wide open. He needs to have an open lane. He needs to have a path to get to the basket where he's not deterred to get up that high. Yeah. And the same thing with him moving laterally. Like, he may move laterally on a test, but in a game, it hasn't really translated. Guys blow by him. And I think Dejounte, for as athletic as he is in the open court, right? Like, he's a blur in the open court when no one's in his way.
Yeah.
He doesn't have a lot of lift when he's inside of the paint. And I think he can get by smaller guards because he's just so long, but he doesn't have the strength to round a corner, and he doesn't have the first step like a De'Aaron Fox or a John Morant to just blow by you. So I think that's a fairly accurate observation. Like, I don't think he gets blocked that often, but he's not a guy who can get to the rim at will. And, like, he's finished much better. Like, his trajectory as a guy who finished really poorly his first 3 or 4 seasons, and then over the last year, he's worked his way to one of the elite finishers at the rim. That's pretty special. That doesn't happen very often, but I think some of that also has to do with the volume's really low. Like, he finishes when he gets a chance, but he's smart. Just like he is with his playmaking. Like, he's not going to put himself in his position to get blocked, to commit a turnover. So he's going to be smart with how he drives to the rim, when he chooses to finish at the rim. And his shot selection has helped him, have such a high percentage of finishes at the rim. Of course, the craft is there, and he's gotten smarter, and he's added a few, wrinkles to his game in terms of like he can throw a hesitation and catch you off balance, but he's certainly not one of the elite burst guys. Like his first step isn't the best.
Yeah, I was going to say this. So I guess we're kind of on the same page when it comes to Dejounte Murray's struggles. Unfortunately, and this is probably the biggest problem, I think, it's nothing I can really point to with Dejounte and I can say, oh, yes, he does this, and now he's averaging 20-plus points a game. I just don't see it that way. I kind of see it as it's just him, and sometimes that just kind of is what it is. He's not going to all of a sudden work on explosiveness. I mean, you can't really work on that. Or your first step, I mean, maybe, not really. So I think that we got what we got, but if he's a second or third guy or third option, I think he's pretty good. But like, I did want to talk about this. And I actually talked about this with my boy, Swish Hill. Was it last night? I guess it was last night. And we talked about it. And there's been kind of talks around that Dejounte Murray questioning his defense. And I do want to say this. I'll just give my thoughts and then let you have it. As far as defensively, I think Dejounte Murray, I think that he's slightly above average on ball. I don't know as far as his block. I don't think he doesn't get a lot of blocks at all. But he does get contests. I will say this. I think Dejounte Murray is a phenomenal stealer of the ball. I think that you have to be very careful around him when you have the ball in your hands. And I think that he's really good in the lanes. I know that there's a few clips out there where you can point to and you say, oh, what was that? But overall, I would say that Dejounte Murray is one of the best defenders in the league based on the steals that he gets in general. But I wanted to know your thoughts on that.
Yeah, with Dejounte Murray, it's tough because I think if you look at the defensive field goal percentage, it's the second worst on the team. Like he gives up nearly 53% field goal percentage when he's guarding guys man to man. But I think that's not indicative of how good he is as a defender. He's a guy who's pretty, for as tall as he is for a point guard, he's pretty skinny. Guys can drive through him and they're going to get to the lane and they're going to finish through him and occasionally they're going to blow by him. But what he does really well is, like you mentioned, he plays the passing lanes really well. He's really smart with the angles that he takes. And then one of the things that I think is underrated and maybe not a lot of basketball fans appreciate is how good of a ball denier he is. Like on dribble handoffs, if you're not careful, he's going to blow up those dribble handoffs and he's going the other way for a steal and slam. Like that's kind of his signature play. And he does that a lot. He does that really often. And even when it doesn't result in a steal, it'll blow up a play. You'll have to reset the offense. Yep. It's late into the shot clock. So those kind of things really help. He can be a decent blocker. He's not a shot blocker. He's not really like Derek White where, he's going up and contesting other guards and blocking a lot of shots around the rim. That's not really his game, but he can get a block on a smaller player every once in a while. And I sort of think like on the defensive end, maybe he's not the, best defender in the NBA, but I think he should always be in the conversation for, elite ball hawks, guys who are going to come up with a lot of steals, a lot of deflections, contest a lot of shots, just create chaos. So like he doesn't always stop guys from scoring, but he definitely breaks up plays and he creates turnovers and he's one of the best transition passers in the NBA. So like that has to have some worth for sure.
Yeah. I guess I would explain. I think Swish Hill explained it this way too. Like brute force is kind of like his motto. That's what he does, and he's really good at that. But I didn't know. That's crazy because you brought this up, and I didn't know the statistics. When I was saying that I don't think he's a great on-ball defender, I didn't know that statistic was 53%. You said?
Yeah, it's almost 53%. I could pull it up here for 1 second. I had it open.
Okay, I didn't know that.
It's not like the worst. That's not like among the worst in the NBA. Obviously, there are guys who are much worse. But in terms of the Spurs team, it's 52.5% on 345 attempts. So that's pretty high.
Do you think it has anything to do with who he's defending? I know typically we kind of put Derek White on the best defender, but do you think that is DJ and who he's defending that makes it so high?
Yeah, nearly 27% of his defensive possessions this season as a man-to-man defender have come against an all-star or a former all-star.
Oh, okay.
So he's guarding some really, really tough matchups. It's pretty consistent with what he did last year. Last year was about 28.5%. And according to B-Ball Index, his defensive matchup difficulty is the highest on the team. So consistently he's getting those really tough matchups. So if you're guarding guys who are that good, it's going to be hard to stop them. But if you think about it, like even the best players, like guards, they don't usually shoot in the 50%. Like they're not shooting like 52, 53%. But like he does a good job. And I think part of the reason that he gets beat relatively often is he's a guy who I think Popovich is okay with gambling. Like a lot of what he does on the defensive end is gambling. And like sometimes he's going to come up with the steal, and then other times it's going to leave the defense scrambling and someone gets an open shot. And like that's just the nature of how he plays defense. But I think there is a lot of value in what he does on the defensive end and all the assignments and like just making people uncomfortable. I mean, I can't even count on my hands how many times, it's the end of a game, it's a close game, the best ball handler on the other team has the ball, and here comes Dejounte Murray. He's not giving you an inch of breathing room, and they're like, okay, you know what? I need to pass it out. Like I can't do this.
Yeah.
He's poked it away from Kemba Walker last year. He's poked it away from several other guys who are, you think of top tier ball handlers, those are those guys. And, he makes them uncomfortable. So that has value too. So I think he is an elite defender, but probably not like all defense first or second team. Like he may have a bit if the Spurs are winning, but because they're not winning, I think they're 10-17, 10-16, something like that. He's probably not going to have a chance for all defense, even if he probably is close to the range of deserving it.
Mm-hmm. And you know what? You mentioned his steals, and they're pretty big steals. You know what? I can't count how many times either that he got big steals, say like in, the end of the fourth quarter. And it's like, oh my goodness, that came out of nowhere. So he does that often. Overall, I really do like DJ. I know there's some critiques there, but I only critique on the opinions that he's going to be a superstar. I just don't see it, and that's fine. I don't think there's any problem with that. But I mean, Spurs Twitter, they're pretty quick to like down everyone else and put other people on pedestals. It's like, guys, no one on this team is a superstar, and it's okay. But
yeah, I mean, I try to be fair too, right? Like you got to be honest with your evaluation, and sometimes you can see it and it's special and it's apparent. Sometimes it takes a longer time to see that, but let's be honest. I mean, I don't know how big into the NFL you are. I'm not super big into the NFL, but when I think of guys who like won a Super Bowl and they weren't like an elite quarterback, they were just a game manager. Like Joe Flacco comes to mind. Like Joe Flacco was a really good player, all pro, whatever, like maybe one or two seasons in his, a decade long career, whatever. Dejounte Murray is kind of along the same lines. He's just a game manager, and that's okay. Like having an elite game manager can get you a championship if you have the right pieces around them. And like the Spurs just don't, right? They don't have the superstar. They don't have, the prerequisite, supporting cast to compete. And that's all right. Maybe one day they will. And like you mentioned, a better context makes him look better. And I think that's very possible. So Dejounte Murray, great player. Don't want to take anything away from what he's done this year because he really has, done everything he can in a less than ideal role as the de facto go-to guy.
Yeah. Yeah. And talking about like who's going to be the next guy, we're definitely going to talk about Primo and Jock. But before we do, I did want to like just get your opinion on this. Not necessarily like we just key in on it for a long period of time, but I did want to talk about trades. So there are quite a few trade rumors kind of going around. Obviously, people are saying go get Sabonis. I don't know how likely that is, but that's just me. I just put on the screen like some of the big ones. We got, CJ McCollum, Dame, obviously. That'll probably be with the Ben Simmons at 2. And they got number 1 is Miles Turner. So just overall, is there anybody in particular that you want the Spurs to go after? Is there anybody that you want us to just go ahead and try to trade and get some picks for? Like what's your overall thoughts when it comes to the trade market with us?
Yeah, I just don't see the Spurs making a trade, if that makes sense. I mean, I'll walk through it because I know you don't want to spend a lot of time on it, but I had talked to John Hollinger and Nate Duncan about a week ago. I was in one of their spaces and they had me on, Nate Duncan had me on his podcast this offseason. We had talked about trades. We talked about who could be on the move, and like Thaddeus Young is the obvious candidate to get moved, right? Mm-hmm. But the way the rest of the league looks at it, or at least this is how they framed it to me, is you've bought out Pau Gasol, DeMar Carroll, LaMarcus Aldridge in 3 straight seasons, and you let Al-Farouq Aminu go. Like you had to. He didn't have any value. You couldn't have traded him anyways. Like you needed to let him go. But teams around the league realize, okay, 3 straight seasons you've bought out a player. Why couldn't you make it a 4th? Why would we give you something when we could potentially wait on you to waive him, and then we'll just sign him for cheap? Mm-hmm. And so teams are very much aware of the Spurs, history in the last couple of years. And the other thing that isn't helping him is, even though I think the Spurs realize that Thaddeus Young is a better player than Drew Eubanks, he's not getting minutes over him. He's picking up DMPs. He's coming as, like the second, third big off the bench sometimes. And so if he's not coming into the game over Thaddeus Young or over Drew Eubanks, that signals to other teams, like they may think that Thaddeus Young is better than Drew Eubanks as well, but they can leverage that against you. They can start asking questions like, okay, well, if he's so good and we need to give a first round pick, why is he not playing? Why is he picking up DMPs? Why is Drew Eubanks the first big off the bench over him? Like, they may not actually believe Drew Eubanks is better than Thaddeus Young, but they're going to leverage that against you on top of what you've done in terms of buying out players. And the Spurs want to do right by guys, so if they're not going to trade him to, like, Indiana where they're trying to rebuild, they're not going to trade him to, like, a middle of nowhere. They're going to try to get him to a contender, and if they can't, they'll buy him out and they'll let him sign with whoever wants him. So that's why I don't think a trade's going to happen. In terms of Sabonis, I think Matthew Tynan of, formerly The Athletic put it best. If they want to rebuild and the Spurs are sort of in a rebuilding teams, they kind of are hard to trade with each other. They both want the same thing. They want draft assets. They want, young players, and they're trying to find the guy. And by Domantas Sabonis being on the trade market, that pretty clearly signals that Indiana thinks this is not the guy. Mm-hmm. And they haven't made the playoffs with him as the guy or advanced in the playoffs. I know they made the playoffs one year and they lost in the first round. And that's not to say that they're using him correctly or that they, that he isn't a good player who can help you advance, but he clearly isn't that top tier star. So if you're gutting your roster for, Thaddeus Young is going to have to go, but how interested are they in him? He's a vet, he's older, he's not what they're looking for. You're going to have to give up a Devin Vassell. You're going to have to give up a Lonnie Walker or a Trey Jones or a Keldon Johnson on top of picks. And then where are you? Like nobody was coming to Indiana to play with Domantas Sabonis. Why would they come to San Antonio to do that when you're losing as well? So I just don't see a trade happening. I know they were mentioned as a team that was interested in him, but I think everyone should be interested in him. It's just, what does it cost? Is it worth it? I don't think it is. So that's just how I feel about the trade market for the Spurs right now.
I'm trying to think, is there any team right now that's on the brink of championship or, deep playoff teams? Because that's the only way I could see Thad leaving and, a team actually being able to use him. Like, oh, okay, we could use this right now. Other than that, I'm kind of with you. It's kind of weird. At this point, I did a video I think yesterday. I don't know. But I was like, dude, I don't care what we do to get rid of Thad. Not to say that I don't love Thad, because I do like him as a player a lot. But yeah, at this point, it's kind of apparent that he's not 100% happy with what's going on. The Spurs don't really have a place for him. He also understands that, we're going in a different direction. We want the young guys to kind of get their minutes. But what's your kind of thoughts on that? Do you think any contenders would want to grab him?
I think it's possible. I mean, one of the scenarios that has come up from The Athletic and from, I think, Bobby Marks, I can't remember who it is off the top of my head, but the one with Phoenix, that's one that was mentioned this summer, and it's continued to be mentioned that Phoenix is interested in acquiring Thaddeus Young. But from what I heard from Dave King, who covers the Suns over there in Phoenix, is this summer they were willing to part with Dario Saric and Jalen Smith to get Thaddeus Young. They didn't want to include a pick, first round, second round. That's not what they were interested in. They just said, hey, here's Jalen, here's Dario Saric. It's straight up. And to me, that doesn't make a lot of sense if you're the Spurs. One, you don't even have the roster space to acquire both of those guys. So you're going to have to cut somebody, which is fine. Like, if you have to cut somebody, okay. But in terms of, does that make sense for the Spurs? So you're acquiring Dario Saric, who tore his ACL. He's not going to play this season, and you owe him almost $13 million next year. And you're in the same predicament you were with Thaddeus Young. Like, does he get minutes? How can you move him? Yeah. Is he in the rotation? He's coming off of a career low year in terms of points per game, role, whatever, with Phoenix. And is he going to be better after the ACL injury? Probably not. I mean, he's inching towards 30. So, okay, the other guy who you're getting is Jalen Smith, and I know people probably know this if you follow my draft content, but I had him as a second rounder on my big board a few years ago. They took him 10th. He hasn't gotten on the court. When he is on the court, he's not impactful. He's lost defensively. He doesn't have a role offensively. He was advertised as a guy who, he's going to be able to stretch the floor as a stretch 4, stretch 5. Hasn't done that at all. Not in the G League, not in the Summer League, not for the NBA. And if you already had a project big in Luka, who had an attitude issue, and the Spurs did what they did with him. I'm not saying Jalen Smith has an attitude issue, but if you have a project big like Luka who you let go, why do you need another project big? Like, who's he playing over? Jalen Smith is not getting on the court for Pop. There's no way. Like, if Keita Bates-Diop is getting minutes as a guy who, he's sort of a vet. He's not super old, but he has a defined role. There's no way he's getting over the court over anybody on the roster. So I just don't think it makes sense for San Antonio, especially if they're not getting a pick.
Wait, Noah, rewind. Did you say Luka had an attitude issue? I didn't know that. I honestly, I knew that he wasn't like playing hard. I was like, okay, is that what you mean by attitude issue? I know that he wasn't like working that hard.
Yeah, so I think a lot of the time with Luka, and I had contact with him. I've spoken to him personally, like whether it's DM or in press conferences.
Dope.
He's a good kid and he works hard and he wants to be good, right? But a lot of times he wasn't that happy sitting at the end of the bench and not playing. And you could see it from his body language. Like, the shoulders are hanging, the head's hanging. He's not giving 100% effort. Like, that's not because he doesn't think he's good or that he couldn't he's not chasing things down because he probably feels like, hey, I didn't even get a fair shake here. Why should I chase something down? Luka was a good kid, and I'm sure he's going to have he probably can be an NBA player, into the bench or maybe a rotational guy if he fixes things in New York with the Westchester Knicks. But Luka, and Pop, I think they both adore each other. Like, Luka has had nothing but good things to say since leaving, and Pop hasn't said anything but good things about Luka since he left as well. And you expect that. They're professionals. But yeah, I think there's some sincerity to that too, but definitely just didn't work out with Luka, right? I mean, it was too consistent. Like, the effort wasn't there. The performance wasn't there. And he always looked at his best when he was the featured option in Austin. He was happy. He was getting the touches. He was getting the shots. He was the star. And, like, that's not to say he wanted to be the star in the NBA, but he certainly wanted minutes and an opportunity. And, all the tweets he made, all of the, Instagram stories were always like, it's my time. It's my time. And his time never came. And maybe that comes in New York, and I hope it does. But yeah, I think that's what I meant by attitude issue. I don't think he was outwardly like a problem, but he definitely, he showed signs of not being happy.
Well, to have that type of like attitude, I don't know a different word for it, but yeah, to have that type of attitude, I mean, you got to be kind of like a superstar or kind of proclaimed around the NBA that you're going to be a star. Like, there's certain players that can get away with that, but when you're trying to make it on a roster, I don't think you can get away with that much at all. Obviously, like DeMar DeRozan, I remember when we sat him at one point in the game and he had like an attitude about it. I was like, well, yeah, he's DeMar DeRozan. So you got to have kind of that profile to even have that type of attitude. So I don't know. I wish him the best, but yeah, I kind of saw it too as well. Like, when he was in games, it's like, come on, man, you're getting 5 minutes here to show what you got, and you're just like, yeah, screw this. I don't care.
Yeah, he looks sorry for himself sometimes, right?
Yeah,
like,
right.
It's tough. And, like, I wish him the best, and hopefully it works out in New York. Like, yeah, just got to move on. There's nothing we can do now.
Right.
He's gone.
Right. Okay. Well, cool. So I know that this is what you really wanted to talk about, so we're going to definitely dive into this. And you know what? I'm going to leave best for last because I love me some Primo. So let's start with Jock Landale. So you said that you kind of been watching Jock Landale, or you went to some Austin games and you've been checking them out. So what's your overall thoughts? Like, what did you want to bring up when it comes to him?
Yeah, and I think I was probably too quick as well to say, like, hey, let's get this guy in the game. And I still want to see him get minutes, right? I think he can be useful. But when you look at what he did in the NBL, he was a guy who was a rim protector, right? Nearly 2 blocks per game. He was shooting the three. He looked like super versatile, inside-out kind of player. Everyone can use that. Every modern NBA team wants that. But some of my concerns with him coming out of the NBL was, look, his feet looked pretty slow. He wasn't a great lateral mover. He didn't have a very good, pop. Like, if he's going to contest a shot, he's not getting up off the ground very far, right? And, like, that's okay in the NBL because you have lesser athletes, you have lesser players, smaller competition generally. And my concerns were, all those things that we talked about, they're not necessarily going to translate to the NBA, especially defensively. Like, he's probably going to be a liability. And from everything that I saw with his 2 games with the Austin Spurs against the Texas Legends when I was there in person, it all stood out in a bad way.
Oh, really?
He moved really poorly laterally. He didn't backpedal very quickly. People were not afraid at all, guards. We're talking like Carlick Jones. We're talking Justin Jackson. They were absolutely unafraid to take it right into his chest because they know he's not going to get up. Like, he's going to try to contest the shot, but he doesn't have a ton of length, not a ton of vertical pop, and they finished right through his chest. And so there were a lot of times that I thought, man, like, this guy, if it weren't for how well he played on the offensive end, the Spurs would be losing right now. And, like, thankfully he can contribute on the offensive end. And, like, hopefully in the NBA when you're surrounded with better, defenders and Dejounte and Derek and Devin and the whole lot of those guys. Like maybe that mitigates some of the concerns, and that's fine. I'd love to see it. But in terms of, protecting the rim, that's not going to be a thing. That's not going to happen for him in the NBA. He just doesn't have the length. He doesn't have the pop. And, the communication issues I'm willing to gloss over because he doesn't really know the guys with the Austin Spurs, right? He'd never practiced with them, never played with them. Like there were going to be some communication errors here and there. But the rest of it, it's a little concerning. And like the only thing that I can say that I'll give him the benefit of the doubt there is he was on COVID protocol. And right before that, he was in the concussion protocol. And then he hadn't played in any game. So like it seemed pretty obvious that he might be a little out of shape, and he looked gassed at times with the Austin Spurs. So maybe that played into it as well, that he just hadn't played that much. And like he hasn't played 20 minutes in a game since the Tokyo Olympics. So that's a long time. Like he's going to need time to get into shape. So
yeah.
Defensively, it was tough. Offensively, a lot of good stuff. Really good playmaker from the elbows, was a post playmaking hub. He threw some really beautiful entry lob passes. Devontae Kaycock hit some guys in transition, pick and pop three, had guys closing out hard on him for the 3-point line, and then you throw a pump, 1-2 dribble into a mid-range jumper, sealed guys in the post, finished over either shoulder with both, hands. Like that looked really good, and hopefully that can translate. And the only way that I see it translating is kind of how we see it with Bryn Forbes, where Forbes is a defensive liability, but if he's knocking down shots and he's only playing, like 12 to 15 minutes a game, you're fine. You're golden. And I think the same thing can happen for Jock, but it's like, is he going to get into the game? Like once again, for the 9th straight game and all 9 appearances for him, all garbage time. So I just don't see him breaking the rotation, especially like if Zach Collins comes back and he gets a small role. I just don't see it with Jock. I really hope he gets into those games, but I just don't see a realistic path to him earning a spot in the rotation unless there's injuries. And let's knock on wood, like nobody wants that.
Yeah. And it looks like the chat's getting a little irritated because they're like, oh my God, I want to see Jock. And you know what? I want to see Jock too. My only thing, and I do want to get your thoughts on this. My only thing with Jock was it was just so much that he went through this season early on that I think kind of set him back. When I've seen him though, like especially NBA minutes, even when he's getting a few minutes, like even last night, he played pretty hard when he was out there. But then again, it's garbage time, and garbage time, you're going to look better than you actually are at times when people just throwing in, their last resort. So let me just ask you this. Are you frustrated at all? Because a lot of people are like, why sign him if you're not going to play him? So are you frustrated with them not playing him? And if you do understand it, what's your thoughts on it? Why do you think they're not playing him as much?
I think I'm only frustrated because he seems like a piece that would be useful for the Spurs, right? They're not a very good 3-point shooting team. I mean, they're like middle of the road in terms of percentage, but near the bottom of the league in terms of volume. And Pop has talked about it. Like, if you're not making threes in the NBA, he literally said this, I think 2 games ago or even last night. If you're not making threes in the NBA, then you're losing. And so if he's the only big man who can stretch out to the 3-point line, let's be honest, Drew Eubanks is not a shooter. Jakob Poeltl is not a shooter. Thaddeus Young is definitely not a shooter, even though it's nice to see him get minutes every once in a while. Jock is. He shot over 40% in the G League. Granted, it was 2 games, but it was on pretty good volume, about 3 attempts per game. He shot nearly 40% at the Olympics. He shot almost 40% in the NBL. Like, that is a guy who's useful to spacing. That's the only reason I'm frustrated, because it seems like he could be useful in small spurts. As far as like, why did you sign him? I mean, he's on a 2-year minimum deal. Like, they could cut him tomorrow and they wouldn't even break a sweat. Like, that's nothing to an NBA team. There's a reason he's on a minimum deal. But at the same time, like, just because he's making that little of money, I guess, a lot compared to what I make, but like, it's just not a big deal. Like, I'd love to see him out there, but they're not paying him that much by NBA standards. So if he doesn't play a minute, like, he'll just end up like the Kevin Martins and the Andre Millers when the Spurs were competing. Like, they're on minimum deals for a reason. They're there for depth insurance, and you're probably not going to see a lot of them.
Yeah. You know what? It is a little frustrating in my end because I actually sit back and I say, oh man, people are too hard on Pop. Like, lay off a little bit. Pop's all right. But then, it is now and then I get certain situations where I'm like, oh, see, I don't get this one. Like, Jock is definitely one I just don't get. I know defensively, at this point, I feel like he can go ahead and just get some minutes, see what we got. And like you said, he can stretch the floor. And it seems like over the years, we've been trying to do that quite often. I mean, Pau Gasol got turned into a catch and shooter. We tried to give LA that role as well. And now we have no one that can do it. I was hoping Drew Eubanks could do it, but it doesn't really seem like we're going in that direction with him. Like you said, that Young is decent 3-point shooter over the years, but that has to be his primary role for the numbers to show up with that. So yeah, I don't know. I'm completely with you. Like, he's the one guy on this team that can stretch the floor, and convincingly so. So why can't he just get those minutes like a Bryn Forbes? Just put him in there for about 10 minutes and see what you got. And also, hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. He mentioned something about his minutes, right? Let's see, about handling frustration the right way. And he was basically just saying, if I just summarize it, you can stop the stream, anybody, and read it. But he was basically just saying that he doesn't want to like bottle up that frustration. He doesn't want to let it show. And basically in the long run, just being patient. That's all he's basically saying. So, but we all know that's kind of the PC way of saying that. I mean, there's no other way of saying, you want minutes, so you got to just say, oh, I'll just be patient. But yeah, so we'll see what happens with that. But I completely agree with like everything you said. But moving on to the one I actually want to talk about, let's talk about our boy Joshua Primo. So I do want to say this. I personally, and this is just me, okay, and you can completely like get onto me and say I don't know what I'm talking about, Noah. It's like perfectly fine, okay? I personally believe that Josh Primo is potentially less NBA ready than Jock Landale. I feel like Jock Landale could jump in, get some decent minutes, and be okay. And I think Josh Primo is still kind of easing into it, even though he has the highest potential by far, in my opinion. I think him being in the G League makes a lot of sense right now, just from what I'm seeing. But what have you seen like in person and all that good stuff?
Yeah, and first off, I definitely agree with you. I think it depends on the context of what we're talking about Josh Primo's role being. Like at Alabama, basically the only thing they asked him to do was run around the perimeter. You need to relocate, you need to cut because the ball's not in your hand. So you need to figure out a way to get open. He was a great spot-up shooter. He was really good on the move as well, coming off screens. Occasionally he shot off the dribble, but really the ball wasn't in his hands all that often. And if that's what you want from him in the NBA, then I think, yeah, he's NBA ready. Like, he could do that for you tomorrow. He's done it to a certain extent in some of the games that we've seen him. But, the Spurs front office, they talked about it right after the draft, and they want him to be a guy who can create for himself, who can create for his teammates. And that's just not a role that he's played since he was on the EYBL circuit with the U16 team called U Play Canada. Like, that's I know it's only 2 years, but that's a pretty long time going not being the primary initiator on a team. And so if we are looking through at it through that lens, like, he's not ready. Like, if you want him to run the offense and you want him playmaking and scoring, then he's not ready. And that's not to say he hasn't shown promising flashes. Like, the flashes have been really nice in terms of scoring. The playmaking flashes, not so much. He's doing, some of the same stuff that we've seen with Dejounte, making some basic reads out of the pick and roll. But he is ambitious to a point where it's almost a fault. He is trying to make some really tough passes in transition. He's turning it over. He's trying to make passes where the window's not really open, and he turns it over in the half court. Like, that's going to happen. He's 18 years old, but if we want him to get to a point where he can be the guy who is the engine of the offense, he's, playmaking for his teammates, he's scoring off the dribble, he's pulling up from three, he's getting to, like, if you want him to get to that point, then the G League is absolutely necessary. Yeah. But I will say, like, he's made some small improvements here and there, game after game. And the biggest thing for him, I think, as a guy who hasn't been the primary facilitator, the guy with the ball in his hands the last couple of years, is just learning when to be aggressive, when to score, when to get your own, and then, how to balance that with getting your teammates involved. Because there's been a lot of halves where he's just not there. He's not taking shots that are open. He's not being aggressive in opportunities that, it's presenting itself as a chance to score. And then the second half, he's like, all right, I got to turn it on. And, like, he just goes to work. Like, he's got to find a better balance. And he's doing that, right? Like, he's learning how to do that. But the best place for him to do that is in the G League for, 30, 34 minutes a game, where there's not really any consequences to making mistakes. And you can learn on the fly where, if he had that in the NBA, 2 turnovers, 3 turnovers on 1 of 5 shooting, that's you're going to the bench. Pop's sending you to the bench if you do that in the NBA. So Austin's the best place for him. Really like what I've seen from him, but I think we have to be patient. Like, this year probably is just a developmental year, really for everyone on the roster, but especially for Primo.
Yeah. And like you said, I mean, he's 18, and he wasn't even supposed to be a lottery pick to begin with. The Spurs just kind of, which Brian Wright said that they kind of just drafted on potential, which I completely agree with. I like it. And yeah, I think that over time, I think the more that we see him, the more that we watch him, and the more he develop, these numbers are going to go up. And I think he's going to skyrocket his way out of the G League. Like he's going to force his way out of the G League. Just from what I'm seeing, I completely agree with you. He does make mistakes. You said that it's very similar to DJ in that like it's very simple stuff. But then again, I mean, he's 18, so that's not a big deal. And then on top of it, as far as his 3-point shooting, it hasn't been the best from what I've seen in Austin, but that could be due to what you said. Like he kind of starts off kind of slow. But I will say this, I can't pinpoint. Like usually you can take a player and you can say, oh, they could be the next this, they could be the next that. And I even talked about this before. Like it kind of seems like he's a mixture of a lot of different people. Like as far as his passing ability, in my opinion, I see a little Kyle Anderson. As far as his defense, I see some Derek White, like really savvy, smart defender, not necessarily the most physical, biggest guy, but he's going to get you. Like, I mean, the fact that he had like 4 blocks the other night, they weren't, if you watch them, they weren't very impressive when you just looked at it first glance, but you actually realize how impressive it was when you realize how savvy he is. And then as far as his shooting, I mean, he could be a plethora of different people. So I don't know. He's going to be something special in my opinion, but you're completely right, man. I think people need to just calm down a little bit. When he's been in the NBA, and this is what I've seen, and you can tell me if I'm wrong or not, Noah, but what I've seen when he's in the NBA is, it's a lot of simplicity for him. Just get in that corner, move around. He's basically out of the play. That's what I'm seeing a lot. Like you're out of the play. And just sit there and wait, and be ready to shoot. And that's basically been it. And he's not going to know a lot of stuff, obviously, because he's with, the G League all the time. But yeah, so what's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's an accurate read on him. And I think, like, for the most part, really every player is sort of a mixture of other guys. And when it comes to, like, making comparisons from one player to the next, I think it's hard because there are so many shades of different players inside of each player. But with Josh Primo, the only thing that, if people do want, comparisons, I have a subscription to Sports Info Solutions, and so they do a lot of interesting stuff. They track some data, whether it's shooting or movement or defense, whatever, but they also have a tool for similarity score. Mm-hmm. And defensively, his similarity score from what he's shown in the G League is most similar to 2019-2020 Derek White, which is great. Like a shot blocking guard, not necessarily, blocking 2-3 shots per game like he has in the G League, but a guy who can get his hands on the ball, come up with deflections, pretty strong on ball. Like he's stronger than I think most people realize. I think some people think he's maybe weak because he's 18, but he's got a good frame on him. He's pretty strong.
I missed it, Noah. Did you say that? Hold on. Did you say that you compared it, or you say you had a subscription to what now?
A subscription to a service called Sports Info Solution. And then on the other end, go ahead.
Oh, and they made the comparison of Derek White?
They just have like similarity scores. So like they compile data and it's like, what is this player's defensive and offensive impact? Who is it most similar to, and what season is it most similar to?
Oh, okay. I got you.
Yeah, so I guess he was most similar to 2019-2020 Derek White, which, I mean, that's a great sign if you want a guy who's impactful on the defensive end. And on the other end, I think this probably will, it probably will disappoint a lot of people, but his offensive profile from a shot profile and efficiency standpoint, he measured most closely to Jordan Clarkson, 2017-2018, which, that's a fine player. Like that guy ended up becoming a 6th man of the year. So if Josh Primo can become a microwave scorer who provides Derek White level impact on the defensive end, that's great. And like, that's not to say that's who he is or who he's going to become, that he can't become better. Like he's got a pretty high ceiling, I think, if he can reach his high end outcome. But like, I think that's a pretty good baseline to aim for. Like if you can be a Derek White and a little bit of Jordan Clarkson, then like, that's a good player. I mean, you got that at 12th overall. That's solid. So I'd be happy with that. But of course, there's a lot for him to uncover. Like he's just scratching the surface. He's 18 years old. He has some really nice high-end flashes of shooting off the dribble and scoring at the rim, and honestly, really good as a defender. I mean, like, better than I thought he was going to be. Like, he already has more blocks here in the first 11 games in the G League than he did all of last season at Alabama or any of his seasons on the EYBL circuit. Like, this is something we've never seen before. I don't know if it's because it's a different role or maybe he's, growing a little bit or who knows, but he's been really good defensively. So that's a really nice, step in the right direction. Like, that's awesome.
Yeah. Dude, I'm so excited about Josh Primo. Like, I praise him like almost every day. But yeah. So I think that was a pretty good discussion. I was going to ask you one thing just to know see if you got any information on this. I know very little about the whole situation with Jock Landale and the NBL. What happened where he couldn't go to the NBA? Do you know? Or I'm kind of confused by that.
Okay, so with Jock Landale, are you asking like why he wasn't in the NBA earlier?
Yeah, because I know I saw an interview and he briefly talked about like how he was screwed over or something, and I didn't get what happened with that.
Yeah, I don't know the story 100%, but he played at St. Mary's University, which is sort of like a pipeline for Australian basketball talent. Like, they're a big D1 university that gets a lot of Australian recruits. Okay. And he was really good there. He was a little out of shape, but he was known as a bruiser. He didn't really have the three-point shot yet, but he was known as a bruiser, really good footwork, great touch around the rim, good passer, good rebounder. And he ended up signing with Milwaukee Bucks on their summer league team. He was all right there. And then I don't know what happened that he got screwed over, but I can tell you he wasn't like that impressive with Milwaukee. He ended up overseas. One thing led to another. He played for Partizan, he played for Zalgiris, and then he settled to go home in Australia, play for the Melbourne United ball club there in his hometown. And he was really good there. And so I think he finally earned his opportunity to come to the NBA because, to be honest, I'm not sure, like, even though he was pretty good for St. Mary's, like, their level of competition, plus just like his body of work in the film, like, I don't know that I would have said he's automatically an NBA player, but he's worked himself into one. So I don't know anything about him being screwed over, like you said, but he's grinded to get where he is for sure, because he was not an NBA player, like bona fide NBA player coming out of college.
Okay, well, I guess we'll just wait and see. I'm a big Jock fan, and I think that he'll get his opportunity. I think he's good enough player where the Spurs will find a place for him. And it still hasn't been a long period of time. I know people will say, well, it's been about 30 games. But at the same time, how many of those games has he been gone? I mean, he's been gone a big chunk of the season already. And you know how it is trying to get minutes under Pop. It's going to take some time. But I think he'll get there. I think he just keep his head up. He'll be all right. But yeah, so Noah, let me go ahead and plug your stuff, man, because I really do want people to make, if they have, I don't know why they wouldn't have, but if they haven't checked you out, is there anything that you want to plug in particular?
No work right now, nothing like super specific, but you can follow me on Twitter at @n_Magaro, Magaro. You can listen to my podcast. It's called Alamo City Limits. You can find it, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. And then you can find my work, like my written work on Pounding the Rock. And if you want to check out my YouTube channel, you can. I know we talked about, haven't really done much on there. I post my podcasts on there. I definitely want to get to doing some more film studies as the year goes on. I've been busy, so we'll see when I can get to that. But really, I just want to say thank you. Like, I'm appreciative for you bringing me on here. Big fan of your work. I've watched you grind over the last couple of years from like a couple thousand subscribers to I think it's like almost 4.5 thousand now. Like,
oh, thanks.
That's not easy to do. So like, shout out to you for bringing me on here, for really putting the work in to build your channel. Really great stuff. And yeah, just thank you so much, man. It means a lot to me.
Yeah, man, no problem. And I would love for us to, talk again, hopefully several times. This channel keep growing and we can get more and more eyes on both of us. So I really appreciate you, man. You're great at what you do. Like, I love your articles. I love what you put on Twitter and your takes there. You're very informative, man. So just keep it up and keep grinding as well, dog.
Yeah, thank you so much. Like, This was a great opportunity. I love working with you, and yeah, I can't wait to come back. Who knows when it is, but hopefully sometime soon.
Yeah, man. All right. Well, I really appreciate you, and just hit me up if you need anything, and we'll definitely do this again. This was a lot of fun. All right, Noah.
Alrighty. Hey, again, really, thank you for bringing me on. I'm gonna dip here, but
all right.
Whenever you get it up, or if it's already up, I'll promote it or whatever I can do to help you out. So yeah. Thank you again.
Yeah, this is a live stream, so it's gonna be up like right when I stopped the stream.
Oh, dope. Yeah, I figured it was. Like, I figured
Yeah.
that's what was going on. But yeah, awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll go ahead and share it on Twitter. And
All right, man.
I mean, I would share it other places if I could. I just can't think of anything else except for Twitter. But I'll definitely share it on Twitter.
Yeah, no problem. All right, man. I'll get with you later.
Alrighty, take care, man.
Deuces. Yeah, I hate that guy. I don't know. I do that. I do that every time. Okay, everybody, just chill out. All right, man. Why are you guys arguing in the comments? I told you to be on your best behavior, and what do I see? Everyone arguing. I saw some stuff about Kawhi. I saw some stuff about people are just like sheeps when it comes to Popovich. What's going on, man? Why are you guys fighting? We're in this together, guys. All right, we're both witnessing a terrible, terrible team right now. All right, we're in this together. Can we knock it off? Where's the mods? Chop, what were you doing? Oh wait. I think Chop's part of the argument too. Come on, y'all. We're better than this. This didn't happen when we had Star Vision on. What? Metu is not better than Eubanks. What is Eubanks better at? Wait, what? What Metu is? I don't even know where Metu's not better. The stats don't lie. I agree. Metu isn't better than Eubanks. Are you? Hello? Are you guys okay? You think Metu's better than Drew Eubanks? Why? Why? People body Metu all the time with us. I don't know. Now I'm arguing. I'm not getting in y'all rabbit hole. Y'all can do whatever you want. How was the stream though? Was it good? Okay. Yeah, it's because you're here. LJ, he's very... Guys, don't get... Mirror. Was it Mirror that you were arguing? Mirror, don't get too worked up, all right? LJ yells at me all the time. Like, I can give any take, and he'll yell at me. Defending trash. See? He's just angry at it. He's an angry person, okay? LJ... I know LJ started. I know. If you don't say anything, LJ will go away. It's just... Hold on. Everybody just sit still. Just sit still. LJ's gonna be out of here in a minute. It's just... Hold on, let me turn the music off. If you get really quiet, he'll just go away. Okay, guys, I think we're good. Guys. Yeah, okay. All right, we're good. All right, what were we saying? Oh, there he is. Oh, my goodness. LJ, you're sticking up for yourself, but you're not on your burner. You're on your actual account, bro. Playing, you have delusional subscribers. People, yeah. I mean, sometimes I'm delusional. It's okay. We're all a little delusional sometimes. It's okay. It's all right, guys. Man, I did not mean to be on here this long. What? No, what are you talking about? You don't? What? Oh, what? I don't know. Not you, yeah. That was Chop. What? Stream was fire. Thank you. Wait, am I behind? I don't know. Hey! Wait. Is that my Noah that just subscribed? It might be my Noah that just subscribed. Stream was fire. Good. Glad you guys liked it, man. I had a lot of fun. I'm going to tell you guys this right off the bat, okay? All right, so I'm going to a anime convention because that's what I do. All right, I'm a big nerd, as you can see. Yeah, as we can see here, I'm a big nerd. All right, see, got a little Goku. Oh, crap. Oh, my God. No. Goku's okay. We're putting him back together. Goku's okay. He's all right. Are you okay, Goku? He's all right. Oh, my God. Hey, let me show you guys something. All right. I'm not going to bring it in here because it's too heavy. But I did post it in the Discord. Let me show you what my mom and sister got me. Well, my dad too, but let me show you, man. As you guys know, I just graduated. Couldn't walk because the tornado hit that day. But check this out. Look what I got. This is actually my birthday gift, technically, and it took a few months to get here. Anime, here it is. Check this out. Tell me that this isn't beautiful. This thing is huge, guys. I know you can't really like tell just from this, but this is huge. It's so dope. It's so cool. It's so cool. Is that not the dopest thing you ever seen? And if you look back here, well, you can't see it, but it's like a little Goku, and Goku's like, you know the scene. I don't. You Dragon Ball fans know the scene. This thing is huge. It's super heavy, and I was gonna put it like on my bookshelf, but it's so heavy, I feel like it's gonna break my bookshelf. This thing is huge. It's so dope, and it's only 200 of these that were made, and this is like the 167th one. It's so dope. What? All right. Let me tell you guys what's about to happen, though. All right. So I have to go. I'm going to a convention this weekend, and I'm leaving tomorrow, right? So what I have to do is I have to have videos out for you guys from now to Sunday. Yeah. And how many videos is that? Friday. Let's see. 1, 2. Saturday. Sunday, and maybe one tonight. I might upload one tonight. So I need like 6 videos, guys. 6 videos to record. Yeah. Okay, you guys are still arguing. Oh my god. Oh my goodness. I'm trying to show you guys dope stuff and people just still arguing. Wait a minute. All right, guys. I'm going to get off. I'm going to cook something. That's a good question. Is Metu a bust? I don't think Metu's a bust because I don't think it was very high expectations for him to begin with. Clan, do you live in San Antonio? We setting up the Spurs Twitter tournament. No, I don't live in San Antonio. I don't live anywhere near San Antonio. I'm from Memphis, Tennessee. Get some sick Dragon Ball merch. I'm really just going Billy West to be there. I know that's not anime related, but I'm gonna get him to sign something for Fry from Futurama. And who else is gonna be there? The main character's Cowboy Bebop. So I'll get him to sign something. Other than that, I don't see a point. There's no point in getting Dragon Ball merch at those conventions, man. Everything's overpriced. I mean, literally there was a figure there. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool. And I asked how much it was, and they said 270. And then I look on Amazon, and it's like 140 or something. It's like, whatever, dude. They don't have anything special at conventions other than the people that create their own art. Other than that, like, there's nothing special that's at conventions that you can't get anywhere else. It's basically just people taking stuff from their online stores and putting it in the convention, you know? It'll be cool if they had like big, statues like this one. Like this statue is huge. I know you can't tell, but it's huge. Like if they had stuff like that, that'll be one thing, but they don't, All right. Did we get any subscribers from this stream? I also want to say this because it's definitely been helping, and I just want to throw this out here. If you guys want to support the channel, and I say this all the time, and I do monthly giveaways, but all you have to do is just go to patreon.com /clan the Spurs fan. Link in the description as well, and it's only $2, okay? Only $2. The more support, the merrier. $2 a month, and I do giveaways each month anyway, so you're gonna get something in return eventually. But right now I think we're like 26, 27. So if you guys want to support the channel at all, like please head over there and become a supporter, or join as a member on YouTube. That helps as well. Hold on, I hear something. Okay, deleted that. Yeah. Anyone else watching Spider-Man tonight? I'm actually going to see Spider-Man Saturday. Hey, check it out. You want to see the screen that I'm going to see it on? You ever heard of Screen X? This is what the screen's going to look like. Okay, check this out. Watch this. This is what it's going to look like, guys. Crap, can I make it look better than this? All right, well, here. You see this? It's literally a 280-degree screen, and it goes all the way around. Isn't this cool? This is what I'm seeing the movie on. This screen. You watch tonight at 8. I'm watching it Saturday. I'm gonna have to avoid spoilers like crazy, dude. But yeah, it's gonna look something like this. Isn't that gorgeous? It's gonna be pretty cool. Should be experience. Should be an experience. Yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. Stay off Twitter, clan, unless you want to be spoiled. My Twitter is more so full with like Spurs stuff. I think I'm good on Twitter. Where I gotta watch out for is Facebook. I need to stay off Facebook. I already hate Facebook with a passion because every time I get on Facebook, it's like I'm about to fight or argue with someone who just said that, you know, it's cool that someone just got like shot by an officer. Like they like celebrate it. Yeah. I hate guys, I really hate Facebook. I really do. It's like the worst thing ever. Like there's never been a worse thing than Facebook. Instagram, I'm gonna have to be pretty like wary with Instagram too. Yeah, I'm gonna try to avoid spoilers though. All right, guys, let me go ahead and cook. I haven't cooked anything, and after I cook, I am gonna go on a tirade of. Is tirade the right word? I use tirade a lot, but I don't think I use it right. No. Yeah, I'm not using it right. Reddit. Oh, Reddit sucks. Yeah, Reddit sucks too. Oh, Reddit sucks too. Oh, you can mute words? For real? Hey, what words did you... Are you serious? How do you do it? Guys, I'm going to be dodging. You know what? The good thing is I'm going to be driving tomorrow, okay? I'm going to be busy on Saturday, so I won't have time to get spoiled until the memes start coming out. I feel like I'm good until Saturday. I feel like Saturday is when they'll start hitting them. Guys, you want to know, like, before I go, let me tell you how angry I was when I got spoiled one time. So, like, here, I'll just bring up, like, I don't know the exact post, but it was Facebook. I hate Facebook. So, like, you know when Star Wars are coming out, right? When Star Wars first came out, or came back, and everyone was excited, and I was pretty excited about it. And someone posted a picture. It was like this, okay? It was like a cute little puppy, all right? And then it was like, oh, that's a cute little puppy. And then when you scroll down, they had like text right here, like a small text that said Han Solo dies. Yeah. Yeah. It was literally, I mean, literally like 6 hours before I was going to go see the movie. I thought I made it, and I didn't. They posted a puppy and then said Han Solo dies. Yeah. People are mean, bro. People are mean. Yeah. All right, guys, I'm gonna go ahead and get off. I appreciate everybody coming through. Hopefully you enjoyed the discussion. Next person I want to have on is actually Spur Hernandez. Any thoughts on that? Anybody? Any thoughts on Spur Hernandez? I don't know. Any thoughts on Spurs Hernandez? Oh, really? Never heard of him? Oh, okay. He's very controversial. Very controversial. All right. Well, I'll get with you guys later, man. Deuces.